long ago, when mighty gods ruled the world, the gods of the four winds took the shape of horses. They drew Zeus's golden chariot down from Mount Olympus and across the universe, their warm breath sweeping the Aegean Island's ancient shores, their glorious hooves striking the air, manes swirling across the sky. Awestruck, the other Olympians wanted magnificent horses of their own, so the four winds blew and created the Hippoi Athanatoi, immortal horses of the gods. Legends say these were the ancestors of the Skirian horse of Skiros, the most isolated of the ancient Greek islands. Skiros rises from the sea and is the largest and most remote of the Sporades Islands. It is believed that during the 5th through the 8th centuries BC, Athenian colonists first introduced horses to the island. Legend has it that the mother of Achilles disguised him as a girl and hid him on Skiros, thinking she could circumvent his predestined death in the Trojan War. Determined to find Achilles, Ulysses brought a chest filled with beautiful dresses and one suit of armor. Choosing the armor, Achilles gave himself away and was whisked away to Troy, taking the Skirian horse with him. In the 3rd century BC, Alexander the Great went forth from Greece and conquered the world. Many allege the Skiros horse paved the way to Alexander's victories. Their small size and docility made them ideal for an army on the move, and harnessed to chariots in groups of 3 or 4, their strength and courage was likely unequaled. The monumental stone friezes of the Parthenon teem with small horses. For centuries, it was thought the horse's diminutive stature was intended to give the men a godlike appearance. Some believe, however, the art actually represented the noble little Skiros horse. Though steeped in legend, archaeologists believe that the Skirian horse's earthly ancestors originated in North America around 100,000 years ago, migrating over the frozen Bering Strait into Asia and Europe. They lived in small herds, preferring open, rough country. Their predecessors had certain characteristics retained by the modern Skirian breed, but researchers have determined the Skiros horse shows no close relationship to any modern breed. Still the subject of much debate, genetic testing proves that the diminutive Skiros horse has much more in common with large horses rather than ponies. Their elegant conformation and floating movement seem proof of this.
Even if it's so small size, can make your hair.
The way he moved, he floated. He had these lovely paces, whether it was walk or trot or canter.
And they have, for such a little horse, such an amazing quality of movement when they move.
It's great to have all this. I think I am lucky. Yes, I think I'm lucky.
Τα άλογα σου δίνουν μια χαρά και μια ευτυχία και θέλεις να ασχολείσαι μαζί τους.
Personally, they make me feel very, very good. They make me relax. They make me forget my problems.
If you asked any Skirian, they would all say to you, I love the Skirian horse.
Just an element of absolute natural beauty.
Skiros has 2 distinct faces, a fertile agricultural north and the mountainous arid Vono of the south. This geography determined a unique 2-part life of the Skiros horse over centuries. Traditionally, around May, when pasture was scarce, the Skiros horse migrated north in search of water and food and allowed themselves to be approached by farmers, often at the local spring. They worked all summer, threshing barley and wheat while grazing fallow ground. The threshing season concluded with festivities that included bareback races and decoration of horses and riders. At the end of the festival, the Skiros horses were turned loose onto the wild Vono until the next year.
Skirian people have lived in Skiros and can trace their roots back for hundreds, if not thousands of years. The Skirian horse, if it can trace its route back from this place for those many thousands of years, why the bloody hell should we allow it to become extinct?
The world loses every time any breed goes extinct. They were expelled from society due to the mechanization of agriculture. And to me, that's a very, very bad thing.
The Skirian horse without the natural environment, it's like orphan.
It is a part of Greek heritage.
Όνειρό μας είναι να ξαναδούμε κάποιες φωτογραφίες που βλέπω και τα λογάκια στο βουνό ελεύθερα να τρέχουν.
They're a rare breed, and I just think it's tragic if they end up just a mixture.
They would lose a breed with a phenotype which is unique and exceptional.
They say that probably it's true that the oldest horse on this planet right now, and it's a horse and it's not a pony, and it's quite a rare breed.
When modern equipment was introduced in the mid-1960s, the symbiosis between man and horse waned, and the survival of the Skiros horse has since hung in the balance. In addition to mechanization, grants encouraging farmers to keep sheep and goats resulted in massive overgrazing of the Vono. Another challenge that faces the Skiros is the prevalence of interbreeding with donkeys, preventing propagation of purebreds. Having lost both their habitat and function, the Skiros horses became threatened with extinction. In the 1970s, the people of Skiros recognized the utter uniqueness of their horses and started a breeding program. Although the effort was short-lived due to insufficient funding, the attention allowed Skiros horses' risk status to be defined by the government in 1991 as critically endangered. This assessment still stands today. In 2004, a census revealed 90 horses left on the island, a fraction of which were purebred. The existence of such small numbers inevitably produces inbreeding, endangering survival further.
You need the empirical research, you need the subjective research, you need the research about colour, you need anthropological research, you need historical research, you need the myth of Achilles and the fact that he took the horses supposedly from Skiros. When you start taking all those things, you have a much greater way of saying, yes, this horse is incredibly unique.
If we're moving away from them being simply as zoological specimens, then they need to have a use.
Hopefully now things are getting different because the young Greeks are aware of the importance of all the species that live in this environment.
Especially older people see farm animals, they just remember of the hard times they lived in their village. But if people overcome that and start looking at horses with a different eye, from a different point of view, then the horses can take back their place in society.
Further hindering their recovery and the expansion of preservation breeding programs beyond Greece is the fact that the exportation of purebred Skiros mares is illegal.
That's a little bit worrying. I understand why they want to do that, is to try and preserve the breed in Greece, where it is from. But if we want other people to help with the maintenance of this breed, we need to be able to export mares as well.
Scottish hippologist Alec Copeland warned that an outbreak of African horse sickness or similar diseases could wipe out the entire Skiros horse population. Working with others, he created refuges of genetic material outside of Skirtos, first in Corfu and then in Scotland. This was not without controversy, however, though it seemed to ignite a renewed effort to conserve the horse on its own island.
I'm very happy to see the horses in Scotland. For me, from my Skierian perspective, it's slightly more uncomfortable.
For me, it was like the Elgin marble. It's like nearly stealing. But anyway, there are maybe some good things from this.
I don't think just because it's a Greek horse, it should stay in Greece and never leave its border. People are enjoying the benefits of different breeds all over the world. Otherwise, it would be just like putting them in a museum.
When you have a strong breeding community on Skiros, nobody should be concerned about what's happening with people breeding Skierian horses off Skiros.
If someone can do something to help a breed which is in danger, then that someone, at least to me, he's more than welcomed.
You know, I'm open because I'm thinking the good of the horse.
There's going to become a point where geldings need to leave Skiros for the horses to be advertised, for the horses to get recognition. Skiros should be the source, and satellite groups should be able to exist outside of Skiros, and I don't see a problem with that, personally.
Although the European Union has authorized some economic help to assist with preservation, private groups are leading the way to retain and enlarge the Foundation's Skirtos herds and promote the breed culturally around the world. On Skiros is the Katsirelius Simpson stud, run by Skierian native Stathis Katsirelius and Amanda Simpson.
We must always ensure that they could still survive on that mountain. That mustn't leave them. They mustn't be turned into some pampered show pony. They must have that raw, core edge to them. They must have that wilderness. If you lose that wilderness, you lose them.
6 years ago, they began their intensive preservation breeding program with only 6 horses. Through diligent breeding decisions and outcrossing to local stock, their herd has swelled to 47 horses. They actively train their horses as children's riding mounts, at which the Skierian horse excels. Amanda has served as vice president of the Skierian Horse Society, also based on the island.
I think it's very important the Skierian people have some education about what they have in their hands, what we got in the island, how important is the Skierian horse.
Their natural environment is at risk, which is the mountain.
I think it's more important to, first of all, to save the natural habitat.
Without it, they can't ever go back into their semi-wild state.
I feel like it is my duty to serve them. I feel like a humble server to them.
Headed by Nikos and Eleni Kritikos and Thanasis Dalaklides, the Skierian Horse Society has been instrumental in raising the profile of the horse, both on Skiros and elsewhere.
Σκοπός της είναι η διάσωση και η ανάδειξη του σκυριανού αλόγου σε όλο τον κόσμο.
Όταν πηγαίνουμε σε ένα άλογο, το πρώτο πράγμα που κάνουμε είναι να του βάλουμε το microchip, ώστε το κάθε άλογο να έχει το δικό του αριθμό.
Επειδή είναι αρχαίγωνα άλογα αυτά, η γενετική κληρονομιά που έχουν μέσα τους θεωρείται ανυπολόγιστης αξίας.
Όταν ξεκινήσαμε αυτή τη δουλειά εδώ στη Σκύρο, εκτός από ότι κάποιοι μας περάσαν για τρελούς, ότι κυνηγάμε άλογα στο βουνό και μπορεί να γέλαγαν, μπορεί και να μας κορόιδευαν, μέσα σε μικρό χρονικό διάστημα όλα αυτά αλλάξανε.
Η κυριότερη απειλή στο να καταστραφεί αυτό είναι με σχέδια τα οποία επεξεργάζονται να μπουν 111 ανεμογεννήτριες των 3 ΜΒ εκεί.
Though the society has been instrumental in establishing an official stud book, it has not yet received registry status with the Greek government.
Το μόνο που χρειάζεται είναι η ελληνική γραφειοκρατία για να μας δώσει αυτή την επίσημη, μας δώσει την σφραγίδα. Εμείς δεν έχουμε να προετοιμάσουμε, ας πούμε, κάτι άλλο. Εμείς συνεχίζουμε το έργο μας με τις καταγραφές και περιμένουμε να πιστοποιηθούμε.
There is a possibility that the horses have been on this island since 2,500 BC, but we have no actual scientific, empirical evidence for that. From my understanding, the Styrian horse has got a completely different biological makeup to any other horse in the world.
DNA samples have been gathered from all the horses on Skyrdos. This information may finally lead to a dendrogram placing the endangered Skyrdos horse in its correct place in the equine family tree. It will certainly help breeding programs as they move forward. The phenotypic characteristics are well defined. A pretty head with wide frontal bone, large prominent eyes, short ears, wide muzzle and strong neck, thick manes, wide chest, level back with a low-set tail, black durable feet. The Styrian horse comes in a variety of colors, but are predominantly brown, bay and black with no white markings. A dark dun dorsal stripe is common. Perhaps their most interesting and endearing characteristic is their spirited and extremely friendly disposition. The Styrian horse loves people, actively seeking out their company. Its diminutive size of around 11 hands belies its gigantic heart and legendary character.
Amazing characters, incredibly intelligent, very emotional. The connection to human is incredibly strong.
I would like people to know the relationship that I have found and it is possible to have with a Styrian horse. Their remarkable kindness, docility, intelligence, how quickly they are to learn. It's very difficult to define and describe, but when I go out and groom them, I just feel part of them.
Kids love these little horses. They're not afraid of them because of their size. Plus, these animals have amazing character, and I think that is the main thing that differs them from other horses, their character.
I am an honorary Styrian horse when I'm with them, and I do feel enormously privileged to feel that.
When I told you we grew up together, it's not a figure of speech. They took care of me when I was 8.
I'm always so close to them. I really love them. Okay, I cannot ride them anymore. Now I'm professional show jumper, and I run the biggest equestrian center in Greece, and we're having you know those elephants comparing to those small horses, and but you know my heart still belongs here.
They feel what the children feels, and they act accordingly.
The charming Venetian architecture of the Greek island of Corfu surrounds the lush grounds of the Silva Project, another private Styrian horse program headed by Sylvia Steen.
Nothing is proved, but we can see that we work with them and live with them, that there's 2 types, roughly. The more Arabic type, fine-boned and runs like a little bit like an Arab and proud with the neck up and the tail up and so on. And the other type, like E01 you just see, or like Vangelis you see, which is not heavier, but more short probably, and more together.
Established 14 years ago, Mrs. Steen's breeding operation includes a herd of 35 Styrian horses, as well as an equestrian center with a focus on therapeutic riding.
They're just a wonderful little horse with an amazing character, and the more people get to know them, the more they like them, and the more they will want them. And especially for riding clubs with children, I think you couldn't find a better little horse for children. I don't believe that a breed like that should only be in Greece, or should only be whether it came from Greece or not. This little horse can get what it should get from humanity, recognized from humanity.
Clouds swirl above the mountain home of the gods. Far below, nestled in the fertile plain between the ancient Mount Olympus and the otherworldly rock formations of Meteora, sits Hippolytus, a Styrian horse program based near Larissa.
We participate in ecological festivals. We try to show the horse, to exhibit it, and at the same time create awareness about how important it is. They should be saved, explain to them that this is an ancient horse and its history, and try to make them understand that the causes that made the horse go extinct could very well make people go extinct one day.
Hippolytus is a family affair. Here, Achilles and Vaso Kaunas and their 4 children promote the breed by hosting school visits on their farm and by participating in ecological festivals and other events.
During hard economic times, everybody suffers, and horses could be no exception. I would like to see them increase in numbers, and I would like to see more people using them. I think our bet now is to keep them and kind of like hand them down to the next generation after us.
Though Scotland seems an unlikely location for efforts to save this remarkable Greek breed, it became the first genetic outpost outside Greece. Carrying the torch for the Styrian horse in Scotland is veterinarian Sheila Brown, who took over from Dr. Copeland.
To take over 14 ponies, I was a little bit daunted because this was a huge responsibility. I quickly realized I wouldn't have enough land here, and we came to the conclusion that we would have to find other breeding partners. The 3 fillies we found a lovely home for with Catherine Eskin up in Campbell House in Fife. Catherine has enjoyed keeping them. They have done the same job for her in lawn mowing as they have done for us. So she contacted me at the beginning of the year and said, may I have a stallion? I thought the best for her would be E01 because he's a proven sire, he has a wonderful conformation, and I knew he would successfully breed the 3 fillies up there. I always thought he was very special because he had very good conformation. He was as long as he was in height, and if you took away any element of perspective, he would easily pass for a larger 15, 16 hand horse. The fineness of his bones, shimmering skin, offset by this overall primitive appearance. He looks unkempt with this unruly mane, this complete lack of white. He looks like a primitive pony otherwise, and this is what intrigues me about the Styrian pony. It's a bit of both. It was very difficult to let E01 go, there's no doubt about that. Looking forward to going to the paddock with these new girls, and there'll be a lot of jumping around, and you might object to each other at first, but then they're all going to settle down. The positive aspects of it are that he is starting a new breeding herd in a different part. 3-year-old fillies, and they're obviously delighted with him. Settling down and starting a new herd. It's lovely to see the evolution continuing. It's given me a different view on life, almost a different way of being. If I could live like a Styrian horse, I would be a much more contented person, I think.
Dr. Brown's small, well-managed herd also includes Maximus, a gelding recently sent to Ireland to further his training as a therapeutic riding horse for children. This special bond and ability with children is one of the most remarkable attributes of the Styrian horse and may be a huge factor in raising their profile around the world and providing a market for their hopefully growing numbers. Though it is clear that protecting endangered species makes sense for biodiversity and the maintenance of healthy ecosystems, there is also a debt humanity owes to the equine. The fact remains that the little but mighty Styros horse determined the fate and wealth of nations and was decisive in victory or defeat, life and death. The history of man is the history of the horse. The 4 legendary winds still blow across Greece, a land with a profound influence on Western civilization. Whether the enduring sagas are fact or fiction is of little importance. They spark our imagination and ignite our passion for these noble horses. With effort, the Styros horse, equine partner of gods and kings, will live on for centuries more. Their fate is in our hands.